welcome to another Quran study. Today, God willing, we'll be reading from Surah 11, titled Hud, and starting at verse 107. Let's all seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Eternally they abide therein for as long as the heavens and the earth endure, in accordance with the will of your Lord. Your Lord is doer of whatever he wills. As for the fortunate ones, they will be in paradise. Eternally they abide therein for as long as the heavens and the earth endure, in accordance with the will of your Lord, an everlasting Lord. So this verse 107 is picking up from where we last left off, the previous verse. I think actually I'm on the wrong. Okay. Let's back up there for a second. I think. Okay. So we're starting at verse 56. We ended last study at verse 55. Verse 56, I've put trust in God, my Lord and your Lord. There's not a creature that he does not control. My Lord is on the right path. If you turn away, I have delivered to you what I was sent with. My Lord will substitute other people in your place. You cannot harm him in the least. My Lord is in control of all things. This is Hud speaking here. What he's telling his people, and it's a good reminder for us why we should put our complete trust in God, who's the Lord over everybody. He's who's Lord, he's our Lord, he's the Lord of the galaxies, the stars, everything. And there's not a creature that he does not control. So this is just reminds us of God's greatness and his omnipotence. He's controlling our heartbeats as well as the ants and the other creatures that are outside right now. I mean, also, he's in full control of all these heavenly bodies. Down to an atom's weight and even smaller. So this is, such is the greatness of God. So, and we're told in the next verse, if they turn away, then God will substitute other people in their place. So, and God is in no need of these people. He's in no need of anybody. Their disbelief does not hurt hurt anyone but themselves. They cannot harm God in the least, and so it's a benefit. It would be beneficial for these people to listen to the message and take heed for their own happiness and for their own eternal life. But most people, as we've learned from the Quran, are not appreciative. When our judgment came, we saved Hud and those who believed with him by mercy from us. We saved them from a terrible retribution. Such was odd, they disregarded the revelations of their Lord, disobeyed his messengers, and followed the ways of every stubborn tyrant. And also, just looking at verse 57 again, we're also reminded that God is in control of all things. So he's in control of us. God is running everything. So this really, it does tie in. If you also look at when Hud was putting his trust in his Lord, because going before these people is not always an easy task. God is the best supporter. He's the one who supports his messengers. He supports us, in the striving we do. But we can see the response and the mindfulness, and then what follows the verse and then the next verse, that God is in control of these people too. These people can't touch him. Just as we've also seen with the people of Lot, the wicked homosexuals, how the angels reminded Lot that, these people cannot touch you. And so it's the devil's scheme and system to inspire fear in us. And but when we know this is the truth, the absolute truth, and especially because it's all mathematically coded, so it can only come from God. And just like, when we're told we have angels that are put as guards around us, we know that it's the truth. Just as, when we walk outside or we look at the sun, we can have that same level of belief about, even though the visually and, auditory, visually and then auditorily, if I don't know if that's the right word, but that these things are obscured from us. We still understand that it's the truth, and it's part of the test. Believing in the unseen and believing in what God tells us. And then verse 58. I think I read that. So yeah, they were saved. God's judgment came, and Hud was saved, and those who believed with him by mercy from us. So it was a terrible retribution that afflicted these people. Such was odd, they disregarded the revelations of the Lord, disobeyed his messengers, and followed the ways of every stubborn tyrant. So the people of Ad were not that wise. They followed, instead of following the right path and the path of the messengers, which is inviting you to the best deal, the best abode. They followed the ways of their gods, which in this case, their stubborn tyrant leaders. They decided to listen to them instead of just imagine like these people, how bad. Consequently, they incur condemnation in this world, and on the day of resurrection. Indeed, Ad rejected their Lord. Indeed, Ad, the people of Hud, have perished. Saleh, one and the same message. To Thamud, we sent their brother Saleh. He said, O my people, worship God. You have no other God beside him. He initiated you from the earth, then settled you in it. You shall seek his forgiveness, then repent to him. My Lord is always near and responsive. So it's the same message as we can see here. It's always been the same message, the same message that Jesus taught, same message that Muhammad taught, Abraham, Moses, Noah, Saleh, Hud, all these messengers, worshiping God alone, seeking his forgiveness, and repenting, affirm repentance ourselves, any way of existence or life, so naturally, realizing this, we should run to God, because everything that we have, everything good we have is from God. And so to be able to live forever with him, this is really what and happiness, this is what these people are being offered, but for some reason they don't want it. They said, "Oh, Saleh, you used to be popular among us before this. Are you enjoining us from worshiping what our parents are worshiping? We are full of doubt concerning everything you have told us." The disbelievers always loses. He said, "O my people, what if I have solid proof from my Lord and a mercy from him?" who would support me against God if I disobeyed him? You can only augment my loss. So these people, if he obeyed these people, he would end up losers like them, but they don't perceive, and they're always going to be the losers, So um, we can also see, that uh, Salah used to be popular among these people, so and that these people are, um, we can see that these people are questioning him in this regard, and they're full of doubt about everything that they're being told. I mean, if anything, this should make it a little bit easier for them, perhaps, maybe not, but you would think that um, that they would have a better chance of taking heed. But we understand that someone's not meant to be guided. Uh, Ultimately, it's because of their decision to choose that path. O my people, this is God's camel to serve as a proof for you. You shall let her eat from God's earth, and do not touch her with any harm, lest you incur an immediate retribution. They slaughtered her. He then said, "You have only 3 days to live." This is a prophecy that is inevitable. So this was a sign for these people. Because that, I think at the time, if I recall correctly, for these people, camels were a pretty big deal. And so, I mean, as for each generation, like at the time of Moses, magic was a big deal. At the time of Jesus, healing the dead, and in sick people, there's a lot of leprosy that was around. That was a big deal. I mean, at the time of Muhammad, poetic literacy was a big deal. And so, these, and as with our generation today, the miracles are tailored for every generation, and so it's like twice as worse or twice as bad when you choose to disregard it, especially in this respect, because it's God's mercy that um, but if these people really, it's a test to fix the in all humans, the original crime that we committed, the doubt about God's omnipotence and his power. I mean, it's the same. It's the repeating the same offense here. So if they're not going to learn here, la quwwata illa billah, or accept. I mean, they're coming. We're all sent back to school essentially, as we've been, as it's been explained by our messenger. And so, if these people aren't going to learn that absolute truth now, they're never going to get it, which makes sense why they're ending up in hell. Because even if returned back, they would do the same thing or repeat that same offense. So they're failing to take, use this as a precious opportunity that God gave us, all of us, to come back to Him and to learn the truth and be absolutely like understand and firm on this truth. Because there was a defect. There was defect. There had to be some type of defect in us, and this was clarified and explained. It's all in the Quran, right? By the messenger of the covenant, as we understand why we're here. So the proof that they rejected with the camel, and not that they just rejected, but they didn't let her eat. They slaughtered her. So they were very evil and rebellious. So read in verse 66. When our judgment came, we saved Salih and those who believed with him by mercy from us, from the humiliation of that day. Your Lord is the most powerful, the Almighty. Those who transgressed were annihilated by the disaster, leaving them in their homes dead. It was as if they never lived there. Indeed, Thamud have rejected their Lord. Absolutely, Thamud have incurred their annihilation. So these are really good examples, and we're about to read about another community where messengers and prophet was sent to them and they disregarded. Abraham and Lot, when our messengers went with Abraham, when our messengers went to Abraham with good news, they said peace. He said peace, and soon brought a roasted calf. When he saw that their hands did not touch it, he became suspicious and fearful of them. They said, "Do not be afraid, we are being dispatched to the people of Lot." His wife was standing, and she laughed when we gave her the good news about Isaac, and after Isaac, Jacob. She said, "Woe to me, how could I bear a child at my age? And here's my husband, an old man. This is really strange." Um, they said, "Do you find it strange for God? God has bestowed his mercy and blessings upon you. All inhabitants of the shrine, he is praiseworthy, glorious." SubhanAllah, God, this is easy for God to do. God created us in the first place. He's going to resurrect us. Created the heavens and the earth, so he can easily. This is not difficult for him at all. When Abraham's fear subsided and the good news was delivered to him, he proceeded to argue with us on behalf of Lot's people. Indeed, Abraham was clement, extremely kind and obedient. "O Abraham, refrain from this. Your Lord's judgment has been issued. They have incurred unavoidable retribution." So even Abraham was extremely kind and clement and obedient, and a dear friend. I think as is referred to God, he couldn't intercede for these people. Only those worthy of being saved, Lot and his children, were saved. And it wasn't anything to do with Abraham even for that, but because there's no intercession unless these people deserve to be saved, because you can't override. God be glorified, but you cannot override God's will. Like, a lot of worshipers maybe won't admit to it, but they obviously they harbor this belief, with thinking Jesus can save everybody, and that he died for like even the wicked people. It's it's the same. It's the same offense. Not you're attributing power. You don't recognize or understand or believe that all power belongs to God. This is, as a messenger said, like quoted, God would not be a God if this were not the case. This is God's greatness, and so we can get a better understanding on the blasphemy that was, why it's such a blasphemy in this regard. Homosexuality condemned. When our messengers went to Lot, they were mistreated, and he was embarrassed by their presence. He said, "This is a difficult day." So just imagine what how terrible these people were. His people came rushing. They had grown accustomed to their sinful acts. He said, "O my people, it will be pure for you if you take my daughters instead. You shall reverence God. Do not embarrass me with my guests. Have you not one reasonable man among you?" They said, "You know well that we have no need for your daughters, and you know exactly what we want." So you can see these people, were wicked, like beyond wicked homosexuals. Who knows what was going through their diseased minds, and And this is, I mean, this is why these people were wiped out. Uh, he said, I wish I were strong enough or had a powerful ally. The angel said, O Lot, we are your Lord's messengers, and these people cannot touch you. You shall leave with your family during the night, and let not any one of you look back except your wife. She is condemned along with those who are condemned. Their appointed time is the morning. Is not the morning soon enough? So uh, this is a good reminder too. Like we're given examples uh, that Lot in the same case with Noah and other messengers and prophets, they had to actually do something. I mean, in Noah's case, angels could have built the ark or the raft for him, um, or even going further and just maybe suspended them or placed them in a place far away. But that's not the case. That's not how the system works. He had to strive. He had to work hard. He had to obey. It also proved the strength of his faith. And not just that, but also his obedience, and augmented his submission to God by listening to the commands and doing what he was told and trusting in God. And so it's the same thing as we see here. Lot could have been transported or teleported, easily to, the next town or somewhere far away and safe, but that's not the case. The gods were told he actually had to do something, he had to work, and also he had to obey, completely, so these are good things to reflect on and think about, for ourselves. And also um, trusting, and building our strength in this regard too. Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. When our judgment came, we turned it upside down, and we showered it with hard, devastating rocks. Such rocks were designated by your Lord to strike the transgressors. So even if these people, had like formidable, there's nothing that's not formidable, but in their eyes, if they had these formidable buildings or tunnels or systems, it's not going to save them if they're destined to be annihilated. Shuaib, one and the same message. To Midian, we sent their brother Shuaib. He said, "O my people, worship God. You have no other God beside him. Do not cheat when you measure away. I see that you are prosperous, and I fear for you the retribution of an overwhelming day." So again, we have one and the same message. There's no other God but God. No one can function as a God. No one has any power to do anything to override God's will in any way. If somebody could do something outside the will of God, this would. This is not the case, but it would. We understand. We can appreciate this now, as we know that there aren't intercessors. There's nobody that has power to do anything. That God is running everything. And of course, we all perform our functions, in this world. We have freedom of choice. But the ultimate conclusion is that God is doing everything. And the decision we make is to be with God. And God will take care of the rest. And we still have so many ways we can get lots of credit, as we, from verses in the Quran, how God gives people a chance to earn a lot of credit. O my people, you should give full measure and full weight, equitably. Do not cheat the people out of their rights, and do not roam the earth corrupting them. Whatever God provides for you, no matter how small, is far better for you if you really believe, because I'm not a guardian over you. So, these people, I guess the people of Midian were, there was a lot of cheating and dishonesty that was going on. And despite these people being prosperous, which was all given to them by God, and they're being reminded to reform and correct themselves. Um, and also, cheating the people out of their rights, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are just cheating them materialistically. I mean, you could be cheating. We see a lot of this today. You could have laws or statutes that are there for a functioning and, relatively stable and happy society and fair society. But when you're cheating people out of their rights, uh, it's not. So these people could have been doing the same things or analogous things that parallel to what we are seeing today on a pretty large scale. And what God provides is the best. No matter how small or large, it's the wisdom that's coming here for the eternal salvation is better than any material gain. And that also Shoaib is not he's not a guardian over these people. He's just he's one of their people, and that he's delivering the message to these people. But you can see it doesn't pay to be arrogant and rebellious. They said, "O Shoaib, does your religion dictate upon you that we must abandon our parents' religion or running our businesses in any manner we choose? Surely you are known for being clement and wise." So it's interesting that these people even understood that Shoaib was clement, kind, wise, and that they're actually not, kind of saying similar earlier. I think it was Saleh who was popular among them, so naturally they should, it's easier for people to listen just the way humans works, to listen to somebody like that, even if the new information is very contrary to what they have been practicing or believing. And so here we can, when this is exactly why he probably was clement and wise, even prior, because he was, a believer. And so, but these people, when they had to be corrected on the way they're running their businesses, and abandoning their parents' religion, this is a common, really, it's a common tragedy as we read throughout the Quran. As we understand, this is why a lot of people, so many people end up in hell, because they follow what their parents taught them. And it's the same whether you're following what your parents taught you, or they don't have to be your parents necessarily, but they could be your elders, your village leaders, your community. It's all the same. He said, "O my people, what if I have solid proof from my Lord? What if he has provided me with a great blessing? It is not my wish to commit what I enjoin you from. I only wish to correct as many wrongs as I can. My guidance depends totally on God. I have put my trust in him. To him I have totally submitted." So we can see complete submission here from Hud, and complete trust. And that he's reminding these people, making them question, what if he does have solid proof from his Lord? And what if God has provided him with a great blessing? So these people should should check themselves, like, and but it's the ego that blinds these people. Also, uh, the wickedness overwhelms them. As we can see, this is a response from, people who end up in hell. The wicked people. It says, "Our Lord, our wickedness overwhelmed us." I don't remember what the surah that's from, but it says there were people gone far astray. So and also it's not Shoaib's wish to um, to commit the exact thing that he's enjoining them from. He's just inviting them to the path of the Almighty, and as well as for himself to correct as many wrongs as he can. I mean, this is the same for them to correct all the wrongs that they can do too. They have done too. My guidance depends totally on God. I have put my trust in Him too, and I've totally submitted. With this, if there's any comments or questions, please feel free. If I made any mistakes, may God forgive me. Thank you.
Mashallah, brother.
Mashallah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Uh, so I have a question about 1169, Abraham and Lot. So from the Quran, we know that. So the Abraham and Lot, so in the at the same time, so there are two prophets, Abraham and Lot. So we know that from Quran. So Abraham is following. God gave him the salat, zakat, all these things. So Lot also follows all those things. So Lot learned from the Abraham. Do you have any details? Any understanding?
Yeah, so mashallah, good question. Yeah, so we know from the Quran that God gave the practices to Abraham, right? So that, like, it wouldn't make sense otherwise. The only other possibility would be that God gave the practices to Lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. No, that's yeah. Yeah, that's my curiosity. Yeah, I was also thinking the same thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like the following verse 1170, so the Ibrahim became suspicious and fearful to them. So we know the suspicious is sin. So this is not that kind of suspicious, right? Not for the sin. Like when you it's
Yeah, I mean that's not the sinful suspicion.
mhm,
Like he's not having like bad thoughts. He just doesn't know like who these people are. I mean, we can have those types of instincts, right? I mean, like let's say some unknown people come into your house and
mhm,
they're acting strange. I mean, you can't ignore those things. Like
mhm,
that's that's just natural. Imagine like and they're acting strange. Like angels come in and now
mhm.
you're eating food and the food is not touching.
Okay.
Their hands are not touching the food. For example, like
Yeah,
he's
he does.
seeing these strange things.
Mhm.
Like what is going on?
Yeah,
Um, you
yeah. He had some kind of question in his heart. You know what's happening. You know what.
hmm
Uh, so
Yeah,
yeah.
it says when he saw their hands did not touch the food, right?
Mhm,
So it's like he's seeing things like based on which he's having these thoughts. It's not like some normal person comes in and like he's acting all normal and they think, oh, like maybe this person hates me, or maybe this person he's a thief,
mhm,
etc. Like those would be things. But like someone comes in your house and let's say he has two heads,
mhm,
and I mean, like if you think something other than that he's normal,
mhm,
how are
mhm,
you actually saying?
mhm. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's my also the same. Yeah.
Right.
Just to be clear, you know, for my also. Yeah.
Hmm.
Allah. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Also, just wanted to mention we read about the Lot and homosexuality, and we can see like in our society at this time, like how prevalent and normalized it has become. Um, like especially recently we heard a lot about the news coming from you know, the president of the United States, for example, you know, and it just shows like you know how how evil the people have become in their behavior and um I mean and I mean that's just like things that they do secretly that become exposed, but there are a lot of things that these people do in their privacy that don't get exposed. And so we can see, like, it's even worse than what we know about what people are doing behind closed doors, especially, right? And then obviously on the face, obviously there's a lot of hypocrisy, um, talking about God and talking about being believing in God and being Christian, for example, or Muslim. All these people are doing all these things, so it really shows that these people don't believe in God, and they don't believe. And this was the thing, the problem, the real problem with the people of Lot was that they uh, they didn't believe in the hereafter, because if they really believed in the hereafter, they would it would be a strong deterrent for them to engage in these sinful things. I mean, as it says, people do sinful things, and they like breaking God's law, and they enjoy the fact that they're doing what they're doing is evil, and the evil part of them, gets satisfaction from breaking God's law. Like, for example, this is why a lot of people commit adultery and do these heinous crimes, because they know it's wrong, and they're so evil that when they do these evil things, it it satisfies the evil inside of them and makes it grow, obviously. And but basically what they're doing is they're you know obeying Satan and following his expectations. Obviously, Satan promises them, and Satan wants them to be happy, right, on their terms, like based on Satan's laws, obviously not based on God's laws. God's laws and Satan's laws can't be the same, right? Because then you can't distinguish whether you're following God's laws or Satan's laws. So Satan wants you to just obey God and follow him, and in doing so, he wants to keep them quote unquote happy. And it's interesting that, talking about, he wants to keep them happy, like, just the terminology that they use for it to say, the word gay means happiness, or happy, and they use that
Yeah.
word in this case, and then use the rainbow, which is supposed to like signify like joy and something
Right.
beautiful, and so.
Yeah, it's like they try
Mm-hmm.
hijacking. Satan can't
Mm-hmm.
produce the
Yeah.
real thing, so they has to
Mm-hmm.
fake or try to
Yeah.
fabricate. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. These people, they it gives them pleasure to do these things, like teach and to be a rebel, like a learner. Just like they're probably very close to Satan. It's just probably how he was too. I guess these people someone is still idolizing, leaders or their own opinions over what God is telling us in the Quran, and they're claiming to be a submitter, but yet they're not. They're totally disregarding the message that's all in front of them: God alone, Quran alone. They're gonna fall in to the devil's scheme. Uh, uh, and this is, you know, yeah, it has to. Uh,
Yeah, this is very normal. Every time God send messenger prophet and they die, and after a couple of years, and the Satan come and change and corrupted the religion. So the messenger died, almost how many years? 35 years. So the same way, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter what he believes inside, what he's doing others. Once we pray, same way, okay, we are fine, we are submitted, we are going to heaven, something like that. So I think Satan only corrupted the religion so many ways.
yeah, and kind of, like the verse just said, we have to put our complete trust in God through our text, like through all of our texts.